Welcome into Chic and Ball. I'm your host, Els the Truth, and today we have our WNBA 2025 Mock Draft 1.0. Thank you very much for tuning in and watching. First, let's look at the draft order and set the table for today's show. Of course, if you didn't know, we have a new team in the W, the Golden State Valkyries picking number 5. The Las Vegas Aces got their pick rescinded because they violated league rules, you know, the Becky Hammond, De'Erica Hamby situation. Once again, Chicago for the second straight year will have 2 picks in the first round. We know how that turned out last year. And the Washington Mystics also have 2 picks in the first round. This year, each team will have 1 minute to make their picks. That being said, Dallas Wings, you are on the clock. Before we get to the first pick, let me just say, these picks are how I would pick if I was hired as GM for these teams. Not what social media says, not what big network says, not always the best player available. I factor in things like personality and how they would fit with stars already on the team. I mean, if you just look at the draft history, some of these teams be taking players that don't got no business on the team. I said that last year with Alyssa Pilley. I have no idea why they drafted her knowing that she wasn't going to play. And since the Dallas Wings going to be making the first pick, last year they took 3 rookies, Maddie Siegrist, Stephanie Soares, and Lou Lopez. And Maddie Siegrist, we love her, she a baller. Stephanie Soares and Lou Lopez didn't really do nothing the last 2 years. So this number 1 pick right here is more than likely going to move one of them out. Now I could be wrong, but you cannot carry this many young players and expect to win big. But with that being said, it looks like we had a first pick coming in from the Dallas Wings. And with the first pick in the 2025 WNBA draft, the Dallas Wings select Paige Bueckers, University of Connecticut. Let me tell y'all something about this pick and why this is the best case scenario for Paige. Arike Ogunbowale is probably the best pure scorer in WNBA history. She has finished top 5 in scoring every year since her rookie year, and she threw a scoring title in there. This is what Paige needs. This is what Caitlin needs. Somebody who gonna take pressure off of them scoring and having to be the number 1 option. Paige gonna get to focus on so many other things. I think that we really gonna get to see the best Paige that we ever saw. One thing we didn't get to see at UConn is how good of a passer she is. And you see little glimpses of it, but with a scorer like Arike, she gonna be dishing that thing like Tisha Pinatero. Another thing she gonna see is a lot of single coverage. You're not gonna double off Arike and you're not gonna double off Asatu, so she gonna get to go one-on-one a lot, and that should open up her offense even more as well. That being said, let us know how y'all feel about this pick in the comments as we move over to the LA Sparks, who'll be picking at number 2. Now, before we get to the pick, check out our review of the LA Sparks 2024 season. Like we did when we first started this show, we're reviewing each team from worst to first, and the LA Sparks was by far the worst team in the WNBA. Last year, they selected Cam Brink. I still think it was a bad idea to pair Cam Brink and Nazarene Stevens, especially when you ain't got no dynamic guards to get them the ball. But either way, I think this team is so light defensively and lack any kind of real consistent scorers right now. I think they need a rare player that can elevate everyone on the roster. That being said, let's get to the pick. And with the second pick in the 2025 WNBA draft, the Los Angeles Sparks select Olivia Miles, Notre Dame. I think Olivia Miles will be one of the best pure point guards in the WNBA within her first couple of years in the league. Her all-around game make her a walking triple-double. She walk into every game feeling like Alyssa Thomas, except she actually a point guard. She got the ball in her hand on every play. Point guards like this come once in a generation. If you're the Los Angeles Sparks, you cannot let this one get away. I told y'all to draft Angel Reese, y'all didn't listen. Now y'all got a chance to make it all right with Olivia Miles. Who better to get the ball to Rickea Jackson? Who better to get the ball to Cam Brink? Now you literally have a point guard, a forward, and a center, and you can just build around those 3. That being said, let me know how y'all feel about this pick in the comments as we move over to the Chicago Sky, who will be picking number 3. Now, before we get to the pick, this team took 2 national championship players in 1 year, which is almost unheard of in any sport. Both players were home runs. You cannot slight what Angel brings on and off the court. Same for Camila. So this team is pretty set in the front court for years, but sometimes the stars align and you just have to do the obvious. With that said, let's get to the pick. And with the third pick in the 2025 WNBA draft, the Chicago Sky select Aneesah Morrow, LSU. When you got a chance to bring a girl from Southside Chicago back home, it's a no-brainer. And it ain't like they're reaching with this pick, cause Aneesah Morrow got first overall pick potential. She could easily at her best average 20 and 10. And on top of that, Aneesah Morrow is a star. And I don't mean on the court, I mean off the court. And it ain't no intimidation factor with Aneesah Morrow. She can handle the spotlight, she can handle the media frenzy. She already played with Angel Reese, they got a lot of chemistry together, one of few duos to ever average a double-double together on the same team. That being said, let us know how y'all feel about this pick, and get ready for the next pick. The Washington Mystics will be selecting at number 4. Last year, the Mystics took Aaliyah Edwards, and I think that was a good pick at number 6. I think they actually lucked into Aaliyah Edwards because she was projected to go higher than JC Sheldon, who was picked right before her. But this team is still dealing with the sting of losing to Lena Deladon, so at this point, they just need to take best player available. That being said, let's get to the pick. And with the 4th pick in the 2025 WNBA draft, the Washington Mystics select Kiki Iriafen, University of Southern California. Now Kiki is a special player. I think she also has number 1 overall talent. But putting myself in the GM shoes in LA, I just can't see them continually taking bigs at the top of the draft. I mean, you could pair it back up with Cam Brink. I think they did play well together. But I think Kiki needs to go somewhere with some strong guards, which this team has. And I think that's one of the reasons she decided to transfer to USC. Not only to go home, but she was going to be playing with a dynamic guard. Don't get me wrong, now ain't no Juju Watkins on this team, but they do have some veteran guards that can teach her the game, and then you pairing her with Aaliyah Edwards and Shakira Austin in the front court. I definitely think that's something they can build on. Now picking at number 5, we have the Golden State Valkyries. The expansion draft for the Golden State Valkyries took place, and this is the roster. Man, I'd be surprised if this team win 5 games. This roster build is horrendous. I know it ain't easy to build when you basically just taking players from the back end of the other rosters, but this team is doomed from day one. The only player on this roster that had a season where they averaged 10 or more points was Kayla Thornton, and that was back in 2019. Every other player, they either super young or had to fight their ass off to make a roster. So maybe they did this so they can keep the salaries low and try to strike in free agency, but we'll keep our eye on that. That being said, let's get to the pick. And with the 5th pick in the 2025 WNBA draft, the Golden State Valkyries select Bree Hall, South Carolina. Picking at number 5, I don't think it's really no more real stars left in the draft, but I think Bree Hall is the safest pick to start this franchise off with. And I say that because she's the ultimate glue player in this draft. It don't matter who you build around her, she will fit in the middle of all of it. You can put dominant ball handlers around her, it wouldn't affect her game. You can put post players around her and it won't affect her game. And to be honest, I think Bree Hall is probably the only player in this draft that don't need other players around her to be successful. We really just expecting her to be a solid shooter, solid defender, and then it's basically up from there. I just don't think this team need to reach to try to find a star. Take the safe pick, low risk, high reward. I think everybody thinks she's gonna be a great player. And she brings that South Carolina fan base with her. Cause I just showed y'all the roster. Outside of Kate Martin, ain't nobody turning on the TV to see that. You add Bree Hall to the mix, then maybe we'll watch. Picking at number 6 will be the Washington Mystics. If you ain't noticed, during the expansion draft, they lost Hailey Van Lith, their starting rookie point guard. So they'll be looking to replace her, and as apparent last year, this rookie will have a good chance at starting. We had them taking Okikiola, aka Kiki Iriafen, earlier in the draft, and what this team needs to complement her and this team is someone who can run the floor and spread the floor. That being said, let's get to the pick. And with the 6th pick in the 2025 WNBA draft, the Washington Mystics select Te-Hina Paopao, South Carolina. And I ain't realized this till now, but 2 South Carolina players back to back. But this one, going from SC to DC, what a trip. I think she'll be one of the strongest rookies coming in as a 5th-year senior, and you can see she's just built for the women's game. I think she'll be able to play solid defense. Her rifle will be loaded with a scope for high precision. I'm not sure that she'll be a scorer in the W. I think she can max out at maybe 10-15 a game at best. But I'm hoping the leash is off and she can shoot more threes. She's only taking 5 threes a game in college, but I think if she wants to really impact the game and change the game, she needs to be shooting 7 to 8 threes a game. Same thing I said about Lexi Brown at one point. She only shot on average 3 threes per game, but in college she shot 5 per game. And when you can shoot like that, that's just not enough. To put that in perspective, Caitlin Clark shot 9 threes per game in her rookie year with the Fever, and 10 threes per game at Iowa, and 13 per game in her senior year. All I'm saying is, Te-Hina Paopao, if you want it like I want you to want it, fire away. I'm talking about 7-8 threes a game, and show them that Caitlin Clark ain't the only one that can shoot like that. And don't get me wrong, I love the post play. I ain't saying that everybody need to go out there and shoot that. I'm saying special shooters like this need to take more threes. Now, picking at number 7 will be the Phoenix Mercury. And I really like this roster. They got some really good players on there. But I think they can get a lot stronger on their second unit. And as of the recording of this podcast, no word on Diana Taurasi, so I'm going to just assume she's going to keep playing. Either way, I think they'll need a scoring guard. As long as they got BG and Tasha Mack, they need guards. That being said, let's get to the pick. And with the 7th pick in the 2025 WNBA draft, the Phoenix Mercury select Aziaha James, NC State. If you watch NC State during their freshman year and sophomore year, you would have never seen this coming because she wasn't barely even getting off the bench. Then in her junior year, she really showed out and scored more points that year than she did in her freshman year and sophomore year combined. Now, the reason I wanted to go to Phoenix is because her and Kahleah Copper is cut from the same cloth. She need to bring that piranha-like Mamba mentality to the WNBA with her. It ain't gonna be easy by no means, but if she can find her spot, it's gonna be curtains. And picking at number 8 will be the Indiana Fever. As we just showed y'all, they lost Timmy Fagbinley in the expansion draft, who was a key part of their rotation, and she was a perfect fit in what I like to call the Caitlin Clark system. She ran the floor hard, she long, hit 50% of her field goal attempts, and that's going to be very difficult to replace. They also going to be losing Alyssa Smith. She announced on social media that she didn't like her role on the team, so that opens up 2 roster spots, and who knows what else might happen before next season. That being said, let's get to the pick. And with the 8th pick in the 2025 WNBA draft, the Indiana Fever select Sarah Ashlee Barker, Alabama Crimson Tide. Now this is going to be my steal of the draft. No matter where she goes, I feel really confident that she gonna end up being one of the better players out of this class. Last year, that player for me was Angel Reese. She went number 7. I had her going number 2. But Sarah Ashlee Barker just jumps off the screen for me. From the first time I seen her play, I was like, damn, that's a really good ass player right there. For obvious reasons, I wanted to go play with Caitlin Clark. I think out of any player out of this draft, she would fit best with Caitlin Clark. I don't think it would be no kind of chemistry issues. I think Sarah Ashlee Barker, she kind of got that Angel Reese motor, like she gonna play harder than everybody else out there. If she don't go in the first round, I will be very shocked. Picking at number 9 will be the Seattle Storm. They'll be losing Drew Aloy, who requested a trade out of Seattle. Nneka only signed a 1-year deal, so we'll have to see if she's coming back. Last year, they took Nika Mule in the draft. Nice steal out of UConn. With the Drew Aloy trade request, she's going to get a big opportunity to get some playing time. And they also took Mackenzie Holmes in the 3rd round. I was really high on her. She was on our 2nd round mock draft last year. I'm expecting her to show her face in the WNBA sometime soon. But this Seattle team is going through a lot, and it ain't going to be fixed in just one draft. That being said, let's get to the pick. And with the 9th pick in the 2025 WNBA draft, the Seattle Storm select Azzi Fudd, University of Connecticut. Azzi Fudd is a player that I think, if healthy, will be a really solid player in the WNBA. Now, she's been projected to go in the top 5, so clearly the talent is there. I just think we need to see some consistent play over consecutive seasons before we can really hand her that spot. Now, when she's on the court, she's consistent as hell. She hits 38% of her three-pointers. She don't miss free throws, and anything inside the three-point line is damn near automatic. I don't think nobody really expecting Seattle to do nothing over the next couple years, so they can take a flyer on a player like this and allow her to get healthy and grow in their system. Because what you want her to do is reach her peak on your team. Because she gonna get healthy and hit her stride. It's just a matter of when and where. Chicago Sky picking at number 10, their 2nd pick in the 1st round. But before we get to the pick, if you made it this far in the video, please hit that like button. It goes such a long way. Even if you don't agree with the picks, at least give me credit for taking it serious and doing my research by hitting that like button and leave a comment whether you agree or not. I had the Sky picking Aneesah Morrow at number 3, and I think at this point in the draft, there are some great players left that can add a new dimension to this team. That being said, let's get to the pick. And with the 10th pick in the 2025 WNBA draft, the Chicago Sky select Georgia Amoore, University of Kentucky. For me, at this spot in the draft, if you can get Georgia Amoore to pair with Angel Reese and Camila, that's going to be a steal. If you're looking for a player that can pass and that's used to playing with bigs, playing off of bigs, that's Georgia Amoore. She could easily lead the WNBA in assists. She leading the SEC in assists with no pro talent on that Kentucky Wildcat team. This team would actually be the perfect fit for her too, because you know they're going to try to attack her because of her height, only being 5'6". But having Angel Reese and Camila back there to protect you, you ain't even got to worry about that, and she going to be just fine. And like I was saying earlier in the show, Georgia Amoore is one of those players that shoot the hell out of the three. On average, she shoots 7 threes per game. In her junior year, she shot 9.5 threes per game. And that's exactly what this Chicago Sky team need, somebody who can lead the league in assists and lead the league in three-point percentage. Picking at number 11 will be the Minnesota Lynx. I got a lot to say about this team and why they lost the finals, but you'll have to wait for our review show to get that take. But trust me, I got footage and we ain't playing no more of the blame game. I'm still upset about how they lost that damn series, but this team took Alyssa Pilley last year. We still waiting for her to get her chance. They also drafted Kiki Jefferson out of Louisville in the 3rd round, who didn't make the team. But they got a big opportunity to make a splash right here. So with that being said, let's get to the pick. And with the 11th pick in the 2025 WNBA draft, the Minnesota Lynx select Hailey Van Lith, Texas Christian University. Now, what's funny about this pick is we had the Lynx picking her last year before she decided to go back to school. And so far, it's been a great decision. Currently averaging 17-7 with TCU. And the personalities on Minnesota are similar to the personalities at TCU. So she gonna fit in just fine. You get to learn from a Hall of Fame coach in Cheryl Reeves. Nafisa Collier is definitely somebody you can look up to in this league. And more importantly, it ain't gonna be no pressure on her to play or perform right away because they just made it to the finals. Their team is already good. All she needs to do is come in and be a spark and be ready for when it's time for her to take over. The last pick in the draft will be made by the New York Liberty. Not much to say about the champs, except we can say every team can improve somewhere. Last year they took Marquisha Davis, really nice player. We have not seen the best of her yet, I can promise you that. Leonie Feebich was considered a rookie, but she was actually drafted by the LA Sparks back in 2020. I also just want to say, I miss Maureen Johannes. Someone please find a way to get it back into the W. That being said, let's get to the final pick of the first round. And with the 12th pick in the 2025 WNBA draft, the New York Liberty select Lucy Olsen, Iowa University. Now, Lucy Olsen has experience playing with the United States Olympic team, and I think that gives her a leg up on most players that probably could be selected in the first round. That experience of learning how to play like a pro, learning how to train like a pro, and being around other pros, I think that's going to help her get an edge on other players that could probably be first round picks as well. The crazy thing about the WNBA draft is so many players that are deserving of being a first round pick, but since there are so little teams, you only can make 12 picks. Now, Lucy Olsen don't got no ego. She don't mind going out there and learning and busting her ass. And I think that will help her if she's selected to this team where she probably won't get much playing time to begin with. But there you have it. A final look at our mock draft 1.0. It's still very early in the season, so things could change. If you're interested in the second round mock draft, which you also did last year, when you leave a comment under this video, hashtag 2R. You can even put it in parentheses, the number 2, the letter R. That will let me know to work on that second round mock draft. Otherwise, we'll continue to work on our review shows. Please don't forget to like this video. I very much appreciate your support. Thank you for listening and watching. I'm Els for PRM. Talk to you on the next one.